But anyway, we're going to do an icebreaker question.
Okay.
Which is, it's very important and very serious.
Okay.
What accent do you find sexiest?
Okay, what accent do I find sexiest? Yeah. I will say my wife's, first and foremost, okay? She has I mean...
Wow, shout out to wife. Wait, I forgot her name.
Natalie. Yes, she has, I would guess what you call like a standard LA, American accent. But if I think about like the accents that cause me to lean the most forward, man, I'm gonna name actors or characters. That might be easier. Like, there's an amazing Iranian actress named Shore Aghdashloo. Do you know, familiar with her at all? She's been in like a bunch of, she's like in the TV show The Expanse. She's been in a ton of stuff. Bit of an, kind of like an iconic actress. I think she may be in her 60s. She also has a really iconic voice that she's known for, but I'm not talking about the voice. She has a very thick Persian accent that I really find like mesmerizing is probably the best way to put it. I had a chance to meet her once in person, and I was like, I just kept asking her questions just to keep her talking because I found it so, man, I don't know how to explain it. Like it almost makes me think of like like an alcoholic cocktail, the smoky ones. Like that's what her voice reminded me of.
The next question is why? Why is that sexy to you or really pleasant?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think I have a generally intimate relationship with accents, dialects in general, and a lot of it comes from my cultural upbringing. I'm Armenian American, and being an Armenian in the diaspora, right, like outside of Armenia, it actually, accents and dialects is a very integral part of my personal identity. And I think this is not unique to Armenians. It probably applies to so many cultures, especially diasporas, but many Armenians had to flee the country of Armenia about 100 years ago due to a horrific thing that happened called the Armenian Genocide. And what happens almost always in any genocidal situation, people become a diaspora, they flee, they become refugees, and they have to, as a people, just kind of spread across the world. And in Armenians' situation, there was kind of like three like fractures of the people. 1/3 more or less stayed in Armenia. A third kind of navigated through like Persia, so like Iran, things like that, and another third kind of went through Arabic countries like Lebanon and all that. And that has kind of created a situation where Armenians who may be, we're all the same from the same country, we have three extremely distinct ways of speaking Armenian.
Wow.
That would almost sound entirely like a different language, but it's the same exact language, same spelling, same everything. So me and my wife, Natalie, my family kind of came through the Iranian side. Natalie's family came through the Arabic side. So we speak Armenian almost differently. The beautiful thing about diasporas is by the very nature of people, over generations traveling the world, they're kind of picking up aspects of other cultures and this beautiful thing that happens where, they mix and match and the food becomes one and the dance and the music. So I just to like wrap it up, like I've always been interested in dialects because it's so unique to me and to my home. And, now that Natalie and I have a son, we always joke about what he's going to sound like. And at one level, we think like, well, maybe he can grow up fully speaking both dialects. And again, we're talking about a single language here, but I guess that's what you do, right? There's so many ways you can speak English. So just to answer your question, I think to me, like it's the storytelling that comes with someone's dialect that I'm always drawn to. When I think about those actors I mentioned, like you could just feel that culture emanating through how they speak English.
I love that. And that's what I'm always trying to get with someone's character too. Like if they're working on an accent, like I want to know their story from their accent. It's not just an accent, it's where they come from. It's who loved them as a child. It's what TV they watched if it's in that era.
Yes.
It's everything. What their friends sounded like. Most of all, a child will sound what their friends sound like.
Not their parents, in your experience.
No.
Huh.
No, according to science.
My sister and I certainly do not sound like our parents. So I think you're right. You're 100% right in that front. And we did pick up from our friends. Man, that's really fascinating.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Now I wonder, like, where did chicken and egg, which friend initially, like, how does that accent even begin?
It's probably going to end by the time you're 12.
Interesting.
So your accent is going to kind of be set by the time you're 12.
Yeah, it's funny because like I have, one of my mentors / professors is an amazing guy named John Watson, who was a professor at USC, great producer himself. He's got a really thick British accent, and he came to America when he was like 18, and I'm like, man, it's been like decades, and it's still there. Like you're saying, whatever accent or dialect you speak by about age 12, that becomes a default. Can someone change it through like sheer force and will?
Actors do all the time.
But like make it their default, or will they always rubber band back to what they were at 12?
I think that probably depends person to person. I'm sure. I mean, language and dialects. There's so many anecdotes, so I'm sure there are situations where that has happened.